So right now, 84% of the people on the planet have never used AI, not even once. That is almost 7 billion people completely asleep at the wheel. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can get ahead of 99% of them using Claude AI, even if you feel like you're already late. Because here's the truth that nobody's telling you, you are absolutely not late. You are stupidly, ridiculously early. Every technological revolution in history made the early adopters rich, not the inventors, the early adopters. And AI is that exact moment happening right now in front of your damn face. And I would know because I was an early adopter of YouTube, which made me over $10 million. And I was tweeting and making videos about Claude AI a year and a half before anybody gave a shit about it. Now, fair warning, the internet is about to be buried in low effort AI slop, and most of these AI hack videos are pure garbage that'll waste your time. For instance, all the people that are telling you that you should use AI to do all of your YouTube videos, right? You don't have to do any work, when in reality, they're recording the videos themselves, so they're clearly not practicing what they're preaching. So I'm gonna show you the stuff that actually moves the needle, not the noise. And if you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently cheersing that like button, and let's jump into it right now. Okay, so the first hack is going to be what I like to call the time machine. And this is where you can learn any skill in days, not years. Now, here's what I mean. The single biggest thing separating winners from everyone else is the speed of learning. And 99% of people will sign up for a course, so they'll start a video or they'll buy a book, and someday they'll get into it, and someday never comes. The 1% just learn it today. In an afternoon, right? They might not master it in an afternoon, but they learn it in an afternoon and they get started. And whenever I hit something that I don't know, and as a CEO, that literally happens all the time, I don't go take a 12-hour course. I open Claude, I tell it my exact problem, and I have it teach me only the part that I actually need. So you don't need to learn the whole subject. You need the 5% that solves your problem, and Claude finds that 5% in seconds. And if you don't believe me, just look at this thing that happened at literally the world's most prestigious business university, which is the University of Pennsylvania. An economics professor used Claude to basically recreate part of the master's level course for himself. And he did it in about 12 hours. Now, Claude did not magically beam the knowledge into his brain, but what it did was way more practical. It built him a personalized syllabus. It picked the most important readings. It told him what order to study them in, and then he used Claude like an infinitely patient study partner, asking it questions, getting clarifications, and connecting the ideas back to things that he already understood. And that is exactly what I'm talking about here. The old way is, let me sign up for a course and maybe I'll finish it someday. The new way is, Claude, here is my exact goal. Here is what I know. You are a master at this thing. Teach me the shortest path to understanding this. And that is the time machine. Picture it like this. The old way of learning is climbing over an entire mountain to get to the other side. It takes forever, and 90% of the climb is stuff that you'll never use again. Claude is the tunnel that you can use to go straight through the mountain. Same destination, but a tiny fraction of the time. And here's a pro move that I use on literally everything, right? I make Claude rate its own answer. So I tell it, rate how confident you are in your answers from 1 to 10 with decimals, and then give me a 0 to 100 confidence interval on that rating. And because of that, I instantly know what to trust and what to double check instead of blindly believing whatever it spits out. Because any skill that you're learning, there's going to be a few things that are the most important things in the skill. And there's going to be a bunch of other stuff that's kind of important, but it's not that important. And when you ask Claude to do this, it is going to emphasize the things that are the most important. It's going to tell you those things are 10 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10. And then the things that are kind of important, it'll be like, yeah, this is a 6 out of 10. And so you don't need to spend nearly as much time on those things. So a good example of this is something that I dealt with just recently. We needed to improve our email deliverability, which is super technical. It's really technical stuff, creating subdomains, all kinds of stuff like that. It's the kind of thing that you'd normally have to pay a consultant for, a bunch of money, probably tens of thousands of dollars, or lose a week reading about it and trying to learn it yourself. So instead of reading a whole book on it or spending weeks on a course trying to figure it out on my own, I told Claude my exact situation and I asked which chapter would solve this specific problem and what it would teach me. And it pointed me straight to the 5% that I needed to solve the problem in that exact situation. So instead of reading an entire book or buying an entire course and going through the whole course, I just pinpointed the exact thing that I needed to know to solve that specific problem that I was having that was stopping me from getting to the goal that I wanted to get to. So I fixed something in about 20 minutes that before Claude would have taken me an entire week. So here's how to start this. Pick one skill or problem in front of you right now. Open Claude, the free version is plenty to start, and then paste the prompt below. The magic is the last line. You make Claude interview you first so that it understands your situation before teaching you anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this out with the email deliverability situation that we were having. This is very similar to the exact stuff that I typed in when I solved that problem. And it's gonna ask me for context. It's gonna interview me here. So I'm gonna answer these. And then after a little bit here, it gave me some answers which are very similar to the answers that it gave me before. And yes, this would have solved my problem. So I went from not really knowing all that much about, the technical part of email delivery to being able to solve the problem very, very quickly. Quick break. I'm going to be doing a live training this week on how to start YouTube step-by-step for beginners. This is going to be for people who want to start a channel, but they don't know what niche to pick, what videos to make, or how to actually get started the right way. And it's a completely free training, no strings attached. In fact, I'm giving away even more bonuses at this training. Just as an example, I'm gonna be giving away my niche validator, which works for ChatGPT, as well as Claude Skills, which is a super valuable piece of software where you can finally figure out what the best niche for you is. So do not miss out on this training. Make sure you sign up for it down in the description and the pinned comment below, because you only get it if you join the training. So if you don't join now, you might miss out on it forever. But that being said, in the workshop, you'll get to meet me and you'll get to ask me questions directly. So I look forward to seeing you. So click the link in the description and the pinned comment below this week. Make sure you put it on your calendar. And if for whatever reason you missed out on it or you weren't able to attend, make sure you still click that link, because we might be having workshops in the future as well, and you'll be the first to know about it. So yeah, hope to see you there. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. All right, hack number 2 is gold in, gold out, or what's known as GIGO. So this is probably the #1 skill of the AI age. So the second way to get ahead is to master the one skill that's about to be more valuable than almost anything else, which is asking the right questions. Now, there's an old programming rule. It's called GIGO, and what that stands for is garbage in, garbage out. So if you put garbage into Claude, lazy questions with no context, or they're weirdly worded, or in some cases, way too much context so that Claude doesn't actually know what's important because it thinks that everything's important, and so therefore it gives equal importance to everything. Any of those types of situations, you're gonna get garbage back out. So the 99% type, write me a business plan and wonder why it's mid. The 1% are gonna know how to actually ask, right? And in the age of AI, the person who asks the best questions wins. Full stop. Ask the right question and you can solve almost any problem on earth. Now here's a way to picture it. A vague question is a garden hose set to mist. The water sprays everywhere and hits nothing with any force. A precise, well-loaded question is a pressure washer. Same water focused on one jet that cuts through anything. The question is what turns the mist into jet. And one more thing, never treat Claude like some sort of god that you obey, okay? Treat it like an incredibly smart consultant. Brilliant? Yes. Always right? Absolutely not. I don't believe everything that my smartest friends tell me either, and I don't believe everything that I even tell myself. I'm wrong about things all the time. Even in places where I'm an expert on it, I still am wrong about stuff. So what you want to do is you want to take the genius of Claude and you want to discern. Okay, that is a very important skill as well. And this is something that is even talked about in religious books such as the Bible, how important discernment is. And discernment is even more important in this day and age with AI and tools like Claude than it ever was before, right? And that is a skill too. And a good example of this is how I make big decisions in my own businesses. I don't just ask, hey, how do I grow this? That's gonna give you 10 generic options in 0 direction. Instead, I feed Claude every number in my business, the revenue, the customers, how we monetize, all of it. I tell it to interview me as well and ask me for context and ask me for any data that it needs. And then I make it give me 10 options. I make it rate every single option from 1 to 10 with decimals and give a confidence interval from 0 to 100% on how confident they are on each answer. And then of course I make it explain its logic. And suddenly I am not guessing. I am looking at a ranked list of the highest leverage moves, and I've made decisions worth a lot of money with that exact process. And this is something that I do at least once every 3 months. And it takes a lot of time to give it all the information and all the context, but it is worth its weight in gold. So remember, gold in, gold out. That's a little bit more positive than the garbage in, garbage out. It's the flip side of that. Give it gold and it'll give you gold. And the easiest way to do this is to literally just tell it the situation you're in, the outcome that you want, and then have it interview you until it has enough data and context to give you really good recommendations. So here's how to start with gold in, gold out. Stop firing one-line questions. Give Claude a role, your real context, and the outcome that you want. then let it pull the rest out for you. Additionally, there's Claude skills and resources that you can get down in the description and the pinned comment below that will help you while you're following along with this. So you can just screenshot this prompt, like I said before, if you want to follow along, and then just fill out the information that it asks for. Now, by the way, these ways of getting ahead of 99% of people are going to be extremely useful for you, whether you are an employee, you have a side hustle, or you already started a business, or you're a very advanced business owner. All of these are going to be incredibly useful for you, and when you watch the rest of the video, you'll know why. Okay, so the third way to get ahead, and this might be one of my favorite ways when using Claude, is basically using it as a pattern recognition machine. Okay, so this is one of my absolute favorites, and almost nobody is doing this, okay? So Claude can chew through massive piles of information and spot the macro patterns that no single human can see: what's rising, what's dying, what everyone's secretly tired of, and where the next wave is forming. So while everyone else is reacting to trends, you start seeing them before they even happen. So spot the wave before it breaks, and you don't have to be talented, you just have to be early again. So think of it like a lookout in a crow's nest of a ship. Everyone on deck sees flat ocean, but the guy on top with the wider view spots the land or the storm long before anyone else. So Claude is your lookout, and it sees the horizon that you can't. So here's how to actually use it. I'll have Claude analyze a whole pile of my competitors' content, the titles, even screenshots of what they're showing on the screen, and their entire comment section, and then read the sentiment. What's working, what people are begging for, what they're sick of, etc., etc. And instantly, I know the angle that nobody's hit yet. And I do the same thing in other markets. I'll have it scan job boards to see which jobs are exploding and which are dying. And a pro tip here is if a job's been posted for 100 days and nobody qualified is applying, that is a wide open lane. And of course, if you looked on LinkedIn and there's a bunch of job postings for certain skill sets or certain jobs, that's another green flag. And this is something that I use Claude AI to do to make some of my content. For instance, this video that got over 6 million views, right? I use Claude AI to find these boring but high paying online jobs that are always hiring. But you might be thinking, well, Shane, I'm not a YouTuber. How do I use this for a normal job? Well, you can do the same exact thing in your career if you're trying to make decisions on what career path to go down, right? Because you probably have a bunch of different options about different career paths you could go down, and this is something that can help you make an informed decision. Right? I've even had to analyze what kinds of businesses private equity loves to buy so that I can build companies that are attractive to buyers before I ever go to sell. And another good example of this is how I plan content. Before we make a video, I'll have Claude digest dozens of competing videos and thousands of comments and hand me the exact pattern and the angle that people are starving for that nobody's served yet. And that's not guessing what'll work. That's seeing the wave forming and paddling out before anyone else notices the water moving. So to start with this, pick a space that you care about, your industry, your niche, a market you want into, gather raw material like competitor titles, comments, job listings, whatever, and feed it to Claude with this. Now, by the way, as a pro tip, you can actually have Claude just find the material for you. Sometimes you might have to use Claude Cowork or Claude Code to do this. And of course, that is going to cost you money. You're gonna have to use the Claude subscription for that. But if you wanna find the raw data yourself, you can go ahead and use a Claude prompt like this. Screenshot it, put it into Claude, put that raw data and fill in the blanks. And this is almost certainly gonna help you make better decisions. Now, if you're someone who is sort of like not sure what to do with your life, like you're not sure what job to go down or what skills to learn, or you're someone who wants to start a side hustle, you wanna start a business, but you have no idea what niche to start the side hustle or business with, then luckily for you, I'm actually teaching people how to start a personal brand and how to pick the right niche to start a side hustle on the side this week. And I'm doing a live training for that. And you can check out that live training by clicking the link in the description and the pinned comment below. All right, so the next Claude hack is what I like to call the 10x operator. And this is what's gonna allow you to dominate your job and get the raise. So most people use AI to do their job a little bit faster. The 1% use it to do their job at a level that makes them look superhuman, and then they get the raise, the promotion, or a far better job somewhere else. You can quietly become the person on your team who outproduces everyone, and it's honestly not that hard. You don't have to outwork everyone, you have to out-leverage them. And Claude is the most powerful leverage that has ever existed. So picture two workers in a warehouse. One's lifting boxes by hand, sweating, slow, miserable. The other one decides to drive a forklift. Same job, but he's moving 10 times the weight without breaking a sweat. AI is the forklift. And why would you break your back lifting by hand when the damn forklift is right there? So a good example of this is a guy named Josh Madakor. Instead of just grinding out applications like everyone else, he built a personal brand around his expertise and used it to position himself as the obvious choice in this field. And the result is that companies that are almost impossible to get into, Fortune 50 companies, FAANG companies that have a lower acceptance rate than Harvard or Yale, the kind of companies that usually never respond to you, started reaching out to him and offering him jobs. So he didn't have to beg for a job, he got to take his pick of the litter. And he got his dream job, getting to travel the world, living in Japan, and became a well-respected authority in his niche. And one thing that he told me that he used Claude AI for was making practice questions for different certifications that you take to get better jobs. And he literally made thousands of practice questions to do this. Now, here's how to start. Take the most time-consuming, repetitive part of your job and hand it to Claude. Then use it to prep for the conversation that gets you paid more. Now, I cannot believe how powerful this prompt is, okay? Screenshot this prompt, put it in, again, have it interview you, get as much context as it needs, and then it is going to tell you exactly how you can become the most valuable person at your company and your job, and a plan how you can actually demonstrate and show that value so that you can get a raise. Okay, so number 5, I like to call the side door. Okay, so the 5th way to get ahead is to use Claude to walk through the side door. To start a side hustle or a small business without quitting anything or risking too much. See, starting a side hustle, or especially starting a business, used to mean money, a team, and a year of working nights and weekends. Now Claude can do a huge chunk of the heavy lifting, the research, the content, the systems, so that you can start lean and start now. So the barrier to starting your own thing just collapsed, and the only people who benefit are the ones who actually start. So think of a packed nightclub with a line wrapped around the block at the front door. Everyone is fighting to get in the obvious way. Meanwhile, there's a side door, wide open, and almost nobody is using it. AI is the side door into building your own income. It is the entrance that everyone is ignoring while they wait in line at their 9 to 5. And it is the entrance that everyone's ignoring while they wait in line at their 9 to 5. So a great example of this is my brother Zach. And I want to be clear about who Zach is, right? He's in his 50s, he's not technical at all, and the man can barely operate a smartphone. And he had 0 audience, 0 experience, and 0 subscribers. And he started a channel from absolute scratch, helping people pick the right blue collar and trade careers. And of course, he used AI to help him move fast. Literally 1 month after starting a side hustle, with my help, of course, but he did it all on his own, he had a $214 day. A few months in, he was making $400 to $500 a day from AdSense alone. And he wasn't grinding for this. He spends maybe 2 to 4 hours a week on it on the side. And he is not special. He's not some genius. He just played the game instead of waiting. And he literally went from 0 to a full-time income, even though he was only working 2 to 4 hours a week, in less than 1 month. And last month he made over $18,000. And by the way, if you want to learn more about exactly how Zach was able to do that with his side hustle, attend the live training this week by clicking that link in the description and the pinned comment below. But here's how to start, right? You do not need the perfect idea. You just need to start. Let Claude help you find the side hustle that actually fits you. Then go ahead and screenshot this prompt, give it all the information that it needs, let it interview you, and see what it pops out with. Now, like I said before, if you're confused about what niche to go into, that is what we're going to be focusing on and helping you do this week in the live training. So click the link in the description and the pinned comment below. All right, the 6th way to get ahead might be the most important one on this entire video, so do not tune out. Everything that we just covered, learning faster, spotting patterns, your job, your side hustle, every one of them works way better when you have one thing, and that is a personal brand. When you build an audience and you document your journey publicly, you create traffic and trust that makes literally everything else easier. And you can build a personal brand once and it's going to compound for the rest of your life. And it makes every other move you make easier, cheaper, and faster. You can think of a personal brand as a golden goose. So the golden goose is gonna lay these golden eggs and you can sell the golden eggs. So that might be a really good job that you land, or a promotion that you get, or a side hustle that you start, or even a business that you start. And you can sell the golden eggs. You can sell a business that you launch with your personal brand. You never wanna sell the personal brand itself because it's the thing that's going to get you the most results out of anything else that you do. And if you don't believe me, just think of the richest man in the world, the man who just became a trillionaire. Why do you think he was able to do that? You think it's because he's smarter than everybody else out there? He is a very smart guy, no doubt, but there's other people out there that are smarter. So how is he able to become the first trillionaire ever? It's because he spent a lot of time and effort building his personal brand. People are becoming trillionaires building their personal brand. People are getting elected president by building their personal brand, right? It's pretty obvious how powerful this is, right? And building your personal brand is like a snowball at the top of a hill. The first push is the hardest. It's a tiny ball, it barely moves, But once it gets rolling, it picks up snow on its own, it gets bigger, it moves faster, and eventually it becomes unstoppable. And a personal brand is that snowball. Now, the early days might feel slow, but then it's gonna compound into something that you couldn't stop even if you tried. Now, if you're gonna build a personal brand, there's no better place right now, of course, than social media. And I like to build what's known as a hybrid personal brand. And that's basically what I talked about with the Golden Goose, but it's done in a way where you leverage systems, processes, and AI, so it doesn't take that much of your time. And building it is basically like you doing a little video diary every couple days. So you're basically just gonna be documenting what you learn weekly in whatever niche you choose. Now, the best social media platform by far is YouTube. Okay, YouTube is the single best platform to do it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on YouTube. Listen to the biggest names across every platform say it themselves, right? Here's Alex Hormozi talking about it.
Our YouTube traffic converts at 3 to 4 times every other platform.
All right, here's Cody Sanchez saying it.
The fact that YouTube gives 55% of the revenue is unlike any other platform.
Here's Gary Vee saying it. Right, so all the people that are really big on every social media platform say that YouTube is the best platform, so you should probably listen to them. So the move here is dead simple. Just document the process of getting good at your thing. You don't even have to be an expert. In some cases, you can literally just take written information that's already online and readily available, but people don't want to read these days, right? They want to watch videos. Like 80% of people want to consume content in the form of video. So you just take this really well-made written information and then you just turn it into video content, right? Turn it into the type of content that people want to consume. Or you can document your process of becoming an expert, or if you are an expert at something, you can talk about it. But the whole point is you're building in public. You're just filming your journey. So treat it like a video diary. And if you do that consistently for the next few years, it is almost impossible for you to not blow up and make a shitload of money doing it. And this is exactly what happened with Josh Madakor. When I first started working with him, he was making less than $1,000 a month with his YouTube channel. He used his YouTube channel to get his dream job like we talked about before, but then the YouTube channel just kept going. He started making $5,000 a month, so it was a really nice side hustle. Then $10,000 a month, now it's a full-time income. Then $30,000 a month, now he's making more than he was making from his dream job. And then eventually he scaled his channel all the way up to over $186,000 a month, and that was before he even hit 100,000 subscribers. But you actually don't even have to get that many views to make money. A great example of that is Carla. She wasn't trying to be a huge creator. She didn't want to be Mr. Beast. She just wanted to attract the right people and turn them into clients. And with only about 1,400 subscribers and most of her videos getting under 200 views, she landed her first 6-figure contract directly from her YouTube content. No viral videos, no giant audience, just the right people watching because she showed up and documented her expertise, right? So you do not need millions of views. You need the right few hundred views, right? You need the right few hundred people paying attention to your content. And Carla has a super niche channel, so that's the floor, but look at what the ceiling is. Physics Walla started filming tutoring videos in his parents' basement. These were really rough quality, terrible lighting. You could barely even see the whiteboard. It was just him teaching. And really, he was just teaching the stuff that he was already teaching other people on a day-to-day basis, but he turned a camera on, taught those same things and uploaded them to YouTube. And he turned that YouTube channel into a company that is worth billions. Cody Sanchez, Alex Hormozi, Stephen Bartlett, they all started by just talking about their thing on camera, and their businesses are now worth tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. So the brand is the asset that made all that possible. And here's the part that should take the pressure off completely, right? There's a channel called M&J Metal. The guy posted over 400 videos with a potato camera. No thumbnails, no titles, terrible sound, no editing, doing basically everything wrong. And he had almost no subscribers for the longest time. Then after 400 videos, one video took off. How to make pickle Pepsi at home. And that changed his entire channel. And there was one point where he was making over $30,000 a month on that channel. And I thought it was awesome. Right now, he did everything wrong. He's not my community member. He's not my client. I would not allow my clients to do all those things wrong. But he did everything wrong and he still was able to take off after about 400 videos. Because the number one thing that's the most important thing that's going to make your videos do well is the idea of your videos, right? Once you find a winning idea, your video quality doesn't really matter nearly as much as you think. You just have to keep showing up until you find it. So here's how to start. Don't overthink the niche or the gear. Pick the thing that you want to be known for and let Claude map out your first month of content. So go ahead and paste this prompt in Claude, answer the questions, and you're gonna get some really good answers. But with that being said, if you really wanna pick the right niche, I highly recommend you attend my live training. Click the link in the description in the pinned comment below, because that's what we specialize in doing. And we're gonna be giving away the niche validator, which has been trained on on thousands of hours of us helping people pick the right niches and side hustles and business models, and we're gonna show you exactly how to use it. So click that link in the description in the pinned comment below. Do not miss out on it. So the 7th way to get ahead is to bet on being a specialist. So here's a prediction that I put real money on. Very soon, AI expert won't mean anything. I know, shocking, right? But what's gonna be insanely valuable is being the AI expert for one specific world. For instance, the AI person for realtors, the AI person for law firms, for dental clinics, for email marketing inside of e-commerce brands that sell medical products, right? The more specific your AI expertise, the more valuable you're going to be. Now, there's an old saying called the riches are in the niches, and AI niches or niches are wide open right now because almost nobody has claimed them yet. Think about digging for water. Most people dig 100 shallow holes all over the place and they never hit anything. The person who wins digs one deep well in one specific spot and strikes the water that everyone else is desperate for. An inch deep across everything gets you nothing, but a mile deep in one niche makes you the only game in town. And the fastest way to own a niche is to give away ridiculous amounts of value inside of it. Build a simple free tool or resource that solves a real problem for that specific group, and you become the obvious authority. So I did exactly this. I built a tool that helps people pick their perfect niche in minutes, and people absolutely rave about it. And that one free resource builds more trust than 100 sales pitches ever could. And the perfect example of this is my client, Nicole. She runs a channel called GRC for Mere Mortals, and that is about as niche as it could possibly get. Now, GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance, and it's a super technical corner of cybersecurity. And when she first started working with me, she had 85 subscribers, and she made it all the way up to $80,000 in a single month. And almost none of that was from AdSense. It was almost all from the authority that she built being the person in that one tiny niche. We're talking courses, consulting, high-ticket clients, sponsorships, affiliate marketing, et cetera, et cetera. All of it comes to her because she owns that space. And by the way, she also tends to attract more women because cybersecurity is a space that's dominated by men. So it's even more niche than what I said before. So go an inch wide and a mile deep and become the only name that matters in your corner, and good things are gonna happen. So here's how to start. Don't try to be the AI guy for everyone. Pick one world where you either already have a lot of experience with it, you're particularly talented at it for some reason, or you just really enjoy it, and let Claude help you claim it. So here's the prompt. I'm gonna put it on the screen. You can screenshot this, put it into Claude. Again, let it interview you, and it's gonna give you some really good suggestions for how to do this. So that is the playbook, and if you only remember one thing from this entire video, make it this. You are early, stupidly early. The people who win in the AI era will not be the smartest or the most technical. They'll be the ones who simply started while everyone else waited for permission. And the gap between the people who use this stuff and the people who don't is about to become the biggest wealth gap of our lifetime. So pick which side that you're on. So pick one of these, just one, open Claude tonight and run a single prompt, then do it tomorrow, then stack it into something that you already do every day, and within a few months, it won't be a habit anymore. It'll be who you are. You will be the person that everyone in your life turns to when they want to understand this stuff, right? Don't be one of almost 7 billion people sitting on their waiting for it to feel safe. That is how you get ahead of 99% of people. Not someday, starting now. Now look, I know that 99% of you watching this are just gonna enjoy my free content. You're gonna get a ton of value out of it. You might attend the live trainings as well, get a ton of value out of those, because I'm gonna teach you step-by-step how to pick the right side hustle niche and then grow your personal brand on YouTube. And then at the end, I'm gonna answer every question you could possibly have about it, but we're never gonna end up working together, right? And that's totally fine with me. I like to give way more value than I receive in my videos, my content, my live trainings, etc. But there's gonna be 1% of you out there that are especially busy people and you want one-on-one, either one-on-one coaching or you want us to literally just do the work for you. People who are very serious about growing and making money with their personal brand and on YouTube. And for you, go ahead and book a call by clicking the link in the description in the pinned comment below. On this call, we'll figure out where you are now, where you wanna be, we'll make a plan to get there, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. We are very picky about who we work with. We give extremely high-touch one-on-one service to the people we work with, so we're very picky about who we work with because we can only work with a limited amount of people at a time. We're only accepting about 3 to 5 people right now, for instance. And generally speaking, we accept less than 18% of people who apply. But the types of people we typically work with are business owners who want to grow and make money on YouTube, make their personal brand, and basically use YouTube as a way to get more leads, get more clients, build their brand, and become an authority in their niche. Or YouTubers that are getting a lot of views, but they're struggling with monetization, or YouTubers that are crushing it, but they want to crush it even more, or people that are typically professionals. They're a little bit later later on in their life, they're very successful in their careers and they want to share their expertise online. And they either want to do that to advance their career, build their personal brand, or start or scale their side hustle or business. But all four of these people have one thing in common, and that is they want to treat YouTube and their personal brand like a business. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and click that link in the description in the pinned comment below to book a call. And also click this video right here about how I helped my brother blow up his YouTube channel and his business in less than 1 month.